All right, Shalom. Kohalo Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahavashai Ba'Hashem Rakakudash. Double honors and respect to the elders and to the apostles, a great millstone. Peace and blessing to all the Akim that are preaching and teaching this word with 100% truth and sincerity. And unto the men, women, and children that are listening and learning. And unto the Bayat Adawadah, the elect house of David that is scattered abroad, I give you my utmost and sincere salutations. Okay, Salakia, close this. So, this afternoon's lesson is going to be entitled Winnowing, Sifting. All right. When you look up the word winnow, in fact, it's funny because I was just reading. Okay, when it says to winnow, it means to separate the shaft from grain by using air currents, or select desirable parts from a group or a list. And it says the act of separating grain from chaff. Okay, so, and the synonyms for the word winnow is sifting. And I was reading this book here called Manners and Customs of Bible Times. And I was reading about winnowing here, Salakia, winnowing. And so we're going to get into it with scripture. So just give me a moment. I'll get into this in a second. But all right, we're going to first start off with the book of Matthew. It's going to be chapter 13. Excuse me. It's going to be chapter 13, starting at verse 24. And it says here, and this is the Lord speaking in this parable here. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. Okay. Verse 25, but while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. Okay. Excuse me. So, you know, within this truth, the ministry, you know, we have the wheats and you have the tares, and the wheats are the desirables and the tares are the undesirables. Okay, and and those undesirables can be of the 2/3, as well as agent provocateurs, those who have try to sneak their way in to see what it's all about and then report it back to whoever their master is, so to speak, you know. And, you know, we all know that one of those main provocateurs or tares is, you know, the elders always bring him, well, not always, but they bring him up a lot, and that's Vocab Malone. And you got a few others out there as well, other Israelite groups, and you know who they are. All right, this is going to be verse 26. But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So, you know, we got tares amongst, you know, the brotherhood. You know, they seem sincere, but really they're not. You know, that goes into, roughly paraphrasing. Let me look it up real quick. Just bear with me one moment. This is going to be Salakia here. Ravenous. There we go. This is going to be, there we go. Matthew chapter 7. Matthew chapter 7, verse 15. Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. So, and the Lord sifts out people who are, not sincere, and their mind's not clear, not focused on the doctrine, and as well as those who cause division. I'll get as a matter of fact. Let me finish this up before I get that one script I was just talking about. The next script. It says, I'll read verse 26 again. But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. Verse 27. So the servants of the household came and said unto him, Sir, did not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence then hath it tares? Verse 28. He said unto them, An enemy hath done this. The servant said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? Verse 29. But he said, Nay, lest while ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them. Verse 30. Let both grow together until the harvest. And in the time of harvest, I will say to the reapers, Gather ye together the first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. Okay, and this is a parable. So the wheat would be the elect, and the tares would be the wheat, the elect, the desirables. The tares would be the undesirables, and that goes into the 2/3, the false prophets, as well as the heathen nations that have sown their seed amongst the Israelite women. So, we're going to have some heathens are going to look like they're Israelites, but if their father's line goes back to a man of the heathen nations, that's considered a tare. False prophets, again, and these agents that are amongst the brotherhood, provocateurs, those that are ordered to set up one of the prophets, to set a snare for them. Okay, so, that's why the Lord is doing the sifting process. And I was going to get that, let me get this one script before I show you in the book here. This is going to be the book of Romans. Romans chapter 16, verse 17. Now I beseech you, brethren, mark them which cause divisions and offenses, contrary to the doctrine which ye have learned, and avoid them. Okay? That's talking about, those that are causing problems within the camps of the brotherhood. They don't want to receive instruction or stay in order, or they don't follow the doctrine of Yahweh by Shem Shai to the T. And then you got verse 18. It says, For they that are such serve not our Lord Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, but their own belly, and by good words and fair speeches deceive the hearts of the simple. So, like I said, they don't have Yahweh the Most High in their thoughts. They don't have Yahweh by Shem Shai in their thoughts. They're not sincere towards the Lord. They only care about their own. They only care about their own wants and needs and desires. Okay, they serve their own belly. They seek their own vainglory. Okay. So yeah. Let me get the book here. Like I said, it's by Ralph Gower. It's called Manners and Customs of Bible Times, and I'm gonna go to that chapter, that one spot where it talks about winnowing. So, as you can see here, this is a sieve that's used to separate the grain. Oh, sorry. This right here is called a sieve, this round pot pan here with these nets in the middle. It's meant to sieve out, separate the grain from the chaff. And you got the wooden winnowing fork, similar to that, used in, it's the same thing to sift out the chaff. Let me read this one part here. Salakia. Now, it says right here, okay, let's see, where was it going to be? Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm going to start from start right here. It says, the grain then had to be purified by sifting. The wheat and barley grains were mixed with all kinds of loose fragments from the threshing floor. Everything was put into large sieves that allowed the grain to pass through but left most of the rubbish behind. Okay? It was also necessary to remove any darnel grains at this stage. Darnel was called tares or weeds. In the New Testament, it looks identical to wheat until the grain ripens. When it becomes black instead of yellow, the grains are bitter and cause dizziness and sickness if eaten. Okay, so again, if it turns black, it's an undesirable. It's no good. And the wheat, if it's yellow, it's a desirable. And like I said, this right here, this sieve is used to sift the grain from the chaff, or what, as they call it, the tares or weeds. This is a very informative book. I haven't finished it. I'm gonna get more into reading it, Lord willing, in the future times. Excuse me. So next is going to be Psalms. It's going to be the book of Psalms, the first chapter, and we're going to start at verse number 4. Let me get there real quick here. So this is Psalms chapter 1 verse 4, and it says, "The ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff, which the wind driveth away." Verse 5, "Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous." Verse 6, "For the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish." Okay, so the way of the godly, the way of the righteous is life, but the way of the wicked is death and destruction. Okay? And the ungodly are like chaff. They're like the garbage, the undesirables. The Lord doesn't want them, and Lord willing that we are that grain that is sifted from the tares and the wheat, and so all right, let me go back and finish Salakia. Go back to Matthew, the 13th chapter again, and finish. I was at verse number 20. No, we're good. Yeah, there we go. I'm gonna finish up with verse 30 here, Matthew 13 and 30. And it says, "Let both grow until the," I already read this, but I'm gonna read it again. "Let both grow until the harvest. And in the time of harvest, I will say to the reapers, gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my house, into my barn." So again, talking about the elect, being gathered into the barn, which is the chariots. When the chosen, they'll be scarcely saved before those ICBMs hit this place. But as for the tares, they'll be gathered up and they'll be burnt. Okay? And Lord willing that we are the special wheat. All right, let's see here. This is going to be Jeremiah, book of Jeremiah. It's going to be chapter 15 verse 7, and it says, "And I will fan them with a fan in the gates of the land. I will bereave them of children. I will destroy my people, since they return not from their ways." Okay, so Yahweh Shem Shai is going to do away with the undesirables, with the heathen, of course, mainly. But first, he's gonna destroy his people, Israel, the 2/3. He's going to do away with them because they refuse not to, they refuse not to turn from their wicked ways. Okay, so that's why think it's in First Peter. Let me get it. I think it's First Peter, the 4th chapter, verse 17, and it says, "For the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of the Most High. And if it first begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of the Most High?" Okay, and in verse 18, if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and sinner appear? You know. So we got to keep that in mind. The Lord is doing, that His sifting process is only going to it's only going to increase more and more. So that's why we got to really be on our P's and Q's while being in this truth. You gotta, every day you wake up, you gotta examine yourself, and watch your moves, be careful, and most of all, pray to Yahweh Shem Shai that whatever endeavor you may encounter during whatever time or day, that the Lord will deliver you from it. All right, next we're going to go back to Matthew. We're going to go to the 3rd chapter. Chapter 3, verse 12. And it says, "Whose fan is in his hand, and he will thoroughly purge his floor, and gather his wheat into the garner, but will burn up the chaff with unquenchable fire." Okay? So that's what it's going to be. That's, this right here should put enough fear in you, to realize, we hope and pray that we are of the desirable bunch and not the undesirable that's going to be burnt or done away with. That's why you got to be diligent in this. You can't slack. You can't lean upon your own understanding. You really gotta show the Lord through your actions that you really want this. But even then, at the end of the day, it's all according to the will and power of Yahweh Shem Shai, who He wants and who He doesn't want. All right. Next is going to be Ecclesiasticus, aka Sirach. It's going to be chapter 27. Sirach chapter 27, starting at verse number 27, verse 4. And it says, "As when one sifteth with a sieve, the refuse remaineth, so the filth of man in his talk." And that refuse is meaning garbage, okay? Because that means that, as you're sifting with a sieve, as I just showed you in the book, sifting the wheat. Okay, you got your wheat, but what remains it's no good, as I said before. And the same thing with the filth of a man in his talk. Okay, a man that's unprofitable and leans upon his own understanding, just talking nonsense, no good. All right. Amos, next is going to be Amos 9 and 9. This is Amos, Amos chapter 9, verse 9. And it says, Salakia, skipped it. Amos 9 and 9. Okay. It says, "For lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations. Like as corn is sifted in a sieve, yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth." Okay? So remember, Israel is scattered all over the place. The elect, I should say, is scattered all over. So the Lord is going to do that He's doing the major sifting process right now. Okay? He's gathering up His elect, throughout the four corners of the earth to be delivered. And, yet shall not at least grain fall upon the earth, He's, none of his elect are going to be left behind. He's going to gather them all up and leave the undesirables left. Like I said, Lord willing, that that we are part of that number. And just another example, like I said, Romans 16:7, marking them which cause division, that's part of the sifting process as well. And another example of the sifting process is this is going to be First Timothy, if I can get there real quick here. It's going to be First Timothy chapter 4, verse 1. And it says, now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter time some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. Verse 2, speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron. Okay? Some brothers are not deeply rooted in this, and they're gonna lose faith. And before you know it, they're gonna be back into the world, drinking that old wine, that worldly philosophy which he was lost in before he came into the truth. Their conscience going to be seared with a hot iron. They're stuck in their ways, and there's nothing you could do to break them out of it. Okay, you won't be able to get the truth into their head because it was never meant for them to begin with. And one more script before I close out. This is going to be this is going to be Matthew again. This is going to be Matthew chapter 22. This is Matthew chapter 22, verse 14, and it says, for many are called, but few are chosen. Okay? So like like in that book, when you're winnowing out all that grain, the stack, it's a sifting process, when the Lord first, went back in 1969 with Abba Bivens, beginning of the truth and waking up the people, as more and more Israelites began to wake up and start, realizing who they were, it all, like I said, Sirach 2:1, my son, roughly paraphrasing, when thou comest to serve the Lord, prepare thyself for temptation. So when you come into this truth, you're serving the Lord. So, you do the work, put your hand to the plow, but you have to understand that the Lord's going to test you on certain things, whether it be your lessons to see if you really are about it, or he might put you in other certain situations to see how you're going to react, so like I said, this is all this truth. It's not just a test. It's not just a trial, but it's also a sifting process to see who has what it takes to endure and keep the doctrine of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Roughly paraphrasing, since Revelations 3:10. Let me get it because I don't want to botch the scripture. Revelation 3:10. It says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world, to try them that dwell upon the earth. Okay? And it says, verse 11, behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast what thou hast, that no man take thy crown. Okay? You got to hold on to this doctrine. Hold on to it for your life, for dear life. And since the Spirit's on me, there's one more script, and it's the book of Zechariah, the 13th chapter. And this one is said a lot, but it's, gonna have to keep saying it. This is Zechariah chapter 13, verse 8. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, to the 2/3, but the third shall be left therein. In verse 9, I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and I will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, the Lord is my power. Okay? So, 2/3, the tares, along with, the other heathen nations, and some of them that look like us, but their father's line goes back to a heathen, they're going to be cut off and die. And, you know, um, and the third, the elect, is going to be left there in the fire to be tried and refined as silver is refined. That's that refining process to make you, to purge out your impurities and to make you better, so that way the Lord can see his image in you. Okay? You say, okay, this is one of mine. Okay? Yeah, the Spirit was on me. I was just in deep meditation, deep thought about the sifting process, how not being, just being in this truth is not only a test, but it's a sifting process, and it was just on my spirit to, put together this lesson and to study and, get it out to you. So I hope that this lesson was edifying unto the body. And remember, Matthew 22:14, many are called, but few are chosen. That right there is scary as hell enough. So, I hope it was edifying unto the body and to those that are new, coming in, listening and learning with all sincerity. I'd like to give all the honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors and respect to the elders and to the apostles of the great millstone. Peace and blessing to all the Akim that are preaching and teaching this word with 100% truth and sincerity. And unto the men, women, and children that are listening and learning. And unto the Biathad of Adad, the elect house of David that is scattered abroad, I give you my utmost and sincere salutations, okay? See you in the next lesson, Lord willing. Kwam Yasharala wa Abababal. Shalom Barakatam.